I'm going to try to block in all the frame rails with these kits that you can slide them underneath from underneath and leave the bed on the vehicle. That's the plan. We'll see. I see other people, they take the whole bed off, but I'm not looking to do any more work. But we'll see. I'm sure it's a lot easier with the bed off. Once you take it off, you can see everything a lot easier. But we'll see. And we know that every bolt that I go to take off is going to be totally rusted. So, and you can see there, the passenger side, I said it didn't look that bad. Well, the driver's side looks 10 times worse. So that's the area I'm going to buy the section to block it in, which is strange. It only rusts in like one spot, the main spot right there. I guess a lot of pressure in that on too, from the leaf spring attachment. But in the middle and moving forward, it's not really rusted. I guess there was a big recall on these, a big lawsuit and all that, but why these people never had it replaced, I don't know. Maybe at the time it wasn't rusted and it rusted after that. The window to go get it fixed at the dealership. But it's amazing is the body, tapping on it everywhere and looking for any body work. The body's like in perfect shape without a couple scratches and dents here and there. The poor frame. That's the East Coast weather. Pennsylvania putting salt all over the roads kills the cars. Anybody that lives there knows that. So the rear bumper, the exhaust pipe, the front bumper, I'm going to try to bend, straighten the bracket out, because you can see the bracket is the thing that's making this thing sag. There's a couple dents in the bumper, one there, one over there. I don't know, I'll see. I know this bottom piece, this plastic piece, it's really inexpensive. I'll buy that online and put that on there. And we'll see what kind of condition. If I can tap this out, once I take the bumper out to fix the brackets without cracking the chrome, that would be ideal. But we'll see. Surprisingly, the grill's like in perfect condition, and the headlights, maybe they were replaced, I don't know, and the turn signals and all that. And the engine needs a little bit of work. It sounds perfect, and the transmission, everything seems fine, but I noticed the valve cover gaskets are leaking, so that's kind of common. And they have this flashlight here, 1 second. They have this trusty little paper clip for the oil dipstick. It's funny, there's no serpentine belt. These are all like separate belts for all this. Old school, that's for sure. So I'll do the normal stuff. The air filter is brand new. I'll change the spark plug wires, the coils, spark plugs. And the big thing, I had to take off the plenum here, the intake manifold, to get to the valve cover gaskets on the right side of the engine. So that'll be a little bit of work, but believe it or not, I think it's going to be a fun project. The bulkhead here is like in perfect condition. Just amazing. No rust up there. So we'll see. It's got a catalytic converter, which is good because I need that on there for California. There's the coil pack. Interesting on these vehicles, it's 6-cylinder, but it has 3 coils packs instead of 6 coil packs, 1 for each cylinder. So it shares the coil pack with 1 per 2 cylinders. I don't think I've ever seen another car like that. What else? The battery is like a year old, I noticed in the paperwork, and there's not even tied down. I think it was bouncing all around. And I replaced this thing today. It was cracked. The terminal. And looking. It's got a crack now. To inspect that. You got to be careful when you tighten those down. They're like lead. You know, this one's steel. Why couldn't they make that steel when I put that on? They sell them. So we'll see. I'll look at that again, but it seems okay. Has AC, the normal stuff, power brakes, windows, power locks. The fan seems okay. The radiator is still good. The antifreeze still looks good. I guess for the East Coast, you better have good antifreeze. I don't see really anything missing, but something here. I don't know what this is. Maybe someone else will know what this is for. This little wire here, or this little, looks like a tube. Nothing on that side. And what did it used to connect there? Did it break off? Possibly. Sure seems like it should be connected. Maybe one of y'all online would know. What else? I gotta give this thing a good bath. Watch, it probably won't run right. Watch, clean it. These old engines run better, I think, when they're dirty. I had a new windshield put in it like a year ago from looking at the paperwork. So I gotta be careful with that. And got it from Copart, and they stick their little logo thing or marks all over it. The thing about it is, I didn't go see the vehicle. I see a lot of people online. It's convenient if you can go look at the vehicle. That's ideal. But when you're trying to save a lot of money and you're all the way on the West Coast, you don't have that opportunity to drive. It's a long drive, so I had to pay for the shipping. But even with the shipping costs, it's still way less expensive than buying it here. So we'll see what else, other little parts and things I'm going to have to buy. Like I said, the big thing's the frame. I mean, that's a huge thing. I make it sound like it's not too bad, but only because I can weld in that. I've seen other people do online when they have somebody come and weld it for them. They put all the plates on, but so I should save a lot of money like that. There's a tow hitch on there, and that might be holding the frame together. I haven't inspected the frame yet. We'll see. I haven't inspected it back here yet. I know there's a couple cross members going across. They're pretty rusted looking. They seem okay, but we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. Looks like it's missing a lug nut. I don't know if the stud's snapped off or something. It looks pretty rusted, or it got stripped. The lug nut, I forgot to put it on. The interior is like really ratty. So I got bed liner, and this truck was oiled, the door hinge. This thing was pretty beat up, but I guess when you take them to the Copart auction, you're not taking a fancy vehicle all cleaned up. Even though they do that, sometimes they'll enhance them a little bit, but a lot of the sellers don't want to pay that. And this guy must have smoked a lot, because there's cigarette burns everywhere in the seat over there. It stinks in here. The other thing, I'm going to take the tin off the windows. I'm going to take these things out off here. This one's already broke. These little sunshade things. But I think I can get the carpet pretty clean. It's automatic. I really want a stick shift. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it for a couple years and then sell it. People always asking people if they want to sell them when they see these cars parked somewhere. I have friends that have these, and they'll go to the store and they'll come out. There'll be a sign on there, a note. Hey, you want to sell your Toyota? Really desired vehicle, the first gen. The size, and I guess mechanically, the things are pretty strong. It's just deal a little bit with the rust on some of them. I think at the time it was the majority of them. I didn't even notice. It still got the stock stereo, all that, and this knob fell off. It's down in there, so we'll see. I'm not doing anything to clean it up or make it look anything like a brand new vehicle. I'll just clean up. I'm not going to really modify anything in here. I'm just going to use it to haul stuff. Projects around the house. There's always some project. I need a truck, and I'm tired of paying shipping from Lowe's to ship things to the house. Good size wheels and tires on this thing. They seem okay, besides that little piece of glass right there. Yeah, we'll see. Take that out of there. But yeah, the bumper's pretty trashed. I don't know if I want a chrome bumper, to be honest. The next one, I might buy one at a junkyard here in California. It won't be rusted, and then maybe it won't be chrome. I don't really care about the chrome. I'll take this decal off here. And dealerships back in the day used to stick their logo on the back of the vehicles. I can't believe they do that. And people let them do that when they buy vehicles. So obviously it has the TRD, which I'm not going to know if I even use any of that stuff, right? The four-wheel drive and that, there's no snow around here. So we'll see. The big thing is just a project and to use it to run errands and haul stuff. Don't like throwing things in the car or in the SUV. That's it. I'll give you the updates on my progress here. I don't know, I'm thinking about a month. I'm a one-man show, so we'll see. Thanks for watching. Subscribe please, and check out my other videos. So this is the aftermath. Took out the bad piece sections. Might have take out some more, but I'm gonna wait until I get the cap that's gonna go over there before I take out too much. But it looks like I'm gonna have to cut this out here probably. To get these bushings out of here, I cut the bolts off because they were seized in there, even though it's rubber, but there's a steel sleeve, and so that was one of the hardest things to get that out of there. And what I did is I took a drill and I drilled into a whole bunch of holes all the way around the rubber, you know, the rubber bushing on the outside here, and there's a steel bolt and a steel sleeve. Well, the steel sleeve and the steel bolt were fused together, but the rubber was still on the outside. So I drilled a whole bunch of holes all the way around there, and that seemed to loosen it up. And then I cut it out a little bit more with the drill bits. I drilled it out a little bit more, changed a couple sizes. So I'm going to smooth the inside of that out. Inside there's a little bit rough now. I'm going to smooth that out with a file or on a drill with a little grinder thing on a little drill bit. So just so it's smooth. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but feels really good. So this piece here, or this section here, I'm gonna just cap this a new section in here too, even though it's not as bad. It could have a couple little pieces, but I already bought the cap. It's gonna go the whole length, and then there's gonna be another cap here, and it's gonna have the shackle mount already on it. So it's just me getting the right exact location for the shackle mount. And what I think I'm going to do is to get that cap in there, it's going to be kind of hard, and this thing won't go. I might put a jack between here and the upper frame there, some kind of jack between these two, and then spread that apart so this comes down lower, and then I can slip that cap in there. I guess the cap's about this big, like 4 inches, I guess. So I guess I could slide it in this way too. We'll see what it's going to be. But yeah, this is the aftermath, and a lot of rust. But it feels a lot better now that I got all the rusted sections out of there. And to be honest, to get that bushing out of the shackle is probably the worst part out of this whole job so far. But it's not impossible. Took out the fuel tank because the shackle bolt hit the fuel tank and put a big hole in the side of the, or right at the seam. The gas tank is 2 sections, the top half and the bottom half that they weld together. Well, right at that seam, the bolt head hit it. Over time, was bouncing, and it pulled it apart. There might be a place somewhere local that could probably repair a fuel tank. I don't know how they do. They fill it with water or something while they're welding on it, but you know, for like 200 and some bucks for a brand new one. I just did that. And then here's what I used, a grinding disc to clean off the steel. There's a drill bit I snapped, and these cutting wheels to cut out the bad sections. I probably went through 5 of those so far. For some reason, the driver's side's a lot worse. Oh, I broke 2 drill bits. You see a tip there, and there's a tip over there. But I just don't understand why the driver's side's so much worse than the passenger side. Like, the passenger side doesn't need this part underneath the door framed, capped in. Just the driver's side does. Well, what are you going to do, though? So walk over on the passenger side. Oh, there's the shackle brake. You can see I cut the bolt. And it's like, this is like welded on there or something. I guess rusted on there over the years. What I did to get this off is I put an impact wrench on there. It wouldn't budge for the whole bolt. So I ended up taking off the nut on this side. But if you're gonna cut it like I had to do, I had to cut the bolt right here. I put a cutoff wheel in there and cut it off both sides because you can't get it out of there. That bolt's just so fused in there. But I guess if you're gonna cut it off, why even spend the time putting taking a nut off? But I was just wishful thinking I'm gonna pound it through. That ain't gonna happen. I see a lot of other people have the same problem, but I don't think nobody else did the drill bit way. And I thought, oh, here's the piece that's was in there. That's the bolt, and then that's the sleeve, and then on the outside the rubber bushing. You can see it almost look like one piece, but it's 2 separate parts. So I drilled the drill bit in there. You can see the drill bit marks every so often, and that made it a lot looser in there to get it out of there. Another thing I was thinking, I have a welder and I can weld. So I was thinking, while this is up in the shackle, like this horizontally, I was thinking, why couldn't I weld a little rod or a heavy duty rod, piece of steel here, and come out like 8 inches or a foot, and then put a T on it to try to twist it out of there. You think you would be able to break that rubber loose, but maybe not. I mean, obviously you're not going to break this outer steel and this bolt loose, but you think that rubber would just break away with 100,000 miles on a vehicle. But I don't know if I did it the easiest way or the hardest way or what, but I did it my way. I'm glad it's done. The dirtiest part of the job. Sorry. But this side, you can see, I just started to grind it. I just have to wait until I get the thing in, the cap, just to see how much I'm really going to cut it out more. I try to cut it back to where I could fill a solid spot, but it's still going to need more. And the leaf springs, I'm going to reuse them. You know, I'm going to clean them up a little bit in there. It's a little bit roughed up in there, and there's a little bit of piece of rubber in there. But I'm going to clean that up, and then I'm going to buy bushings in a bolt kit. And then the sleeve, I did it many times, building cars and rechange the suspensions and all that. And what I'll do is I'll put an all thread all the way through there, and I'll put a nut on each side with a washer and a steel plate, and then tighten the one side to drive that sleeve in there and the bushing in there. I can do it right here while it's still mounted in the car. I didn't take the rear part, and the rear is still really good attached to the car, and it's not rusted too much back there where it's like the front. It's interesting how it's so common to rust right here. Like this side, look at this. This is still really good, this section here. Even right here, I started to grind it just to clean it up, but it's still solid, but not the driver's side. And my wrath of all the tools. So here's the other shackle, and there it again. The head of the bolt is fused on that side of that shackle. Never seen anything like that. So here's the grit that I used. It's like 34, 36 grit. I don't know, 2 or 3 of these. These blasts do pretty good. Then here's the cutting wheel. And I'm a Harbor Freight kind of guy, so all the stuff I purchase is at Harbor Freight. It's a 40 grit metal for metal cutting, and you know, I'll run them all the way down until there ain't much left. This one here could probably be used a little bit more. But I did a little bit of this on the couple spots on a drill, but the drill don't spin that fast. I bought an air hammer from Harbor Freight and thought I could use it to get this thing out of there, but that wasn't going to happen either. It just bounced because it's a rubber bushing, right? So what else on the next project? Oh yes, I got the fuel tank out. So here's all the parts, and you got to be really careful because this is the sending the float for the fuel gauge. I'm going to purchase a new one of these. You know, it looks fine, but why, if I'm already down there, going to tear it apart? And then also the thing for the spare, this thing, you crank it and this little cable drops down and it lowers the spare. That's all seized up and rusted on mine. But the $1,000,000 question is, am I going to be able to get my 4 bolts out of it without taking off my tailgate? It looks like I can get a wrench up in there. This thing's mounted like this in the back. So I want to see if I can get to the 4 screws. I think it's 12 millimeter, 12 bolts. Today I removed the shocks, and what you'll notice, no matter how you jack up the back of the car, it can only come down so much. The front of the leaf spring, it's a little too close to that chassis part for me to slide the cap over it. So I need to drop it down some more. And the shock length was fully extended. It was causing that hang up, so I had to remove that. And kind of classic, the fluid running down the side of the shock that I've seen many manuals, but thought, does that really happen? Well, that really does happen. The first shock I've ever seen in my life that actually leaks. But I guess it's pretty common over the years. But it says Toyota on it. I wonder if it's a factory shocks, or somebody's really rich and put the same brand back on there from Toyota. You can see the drop shaft a little bit out of there because it's down so low. So I don't want to go out too much further, but there's plenty enough low now. And trying to brace it a little bit because it probably would have fell all the way to the ground, and that's too far. And all these lines are a little bit snug. Let's go, it's okay.